who's following the news, which is most Israelis. I knew about them, I read the news, I knew what's going on, but I'm not religious and I'm not a settler, so those were two words that were foreign to me. And in order to research, I traveled to the West Bank, all over the West Bank, but to one particular spot, which I got to through friends, and then through other friends, and it's one small settlement which is kind of the inspiration for Ma'ale Hermesh Drai, the settlement in the novel. And for about 2 years, I used to travel every week and go there for weekends with friends and things like that. That's the physical part of the research, and there was what I call the library part of the research, which is books and many documentaries that have been made and written, of course newspaper articles and so on, a lot of reading. They have a very rich culture of magazines, of Saturday magazines that are on the when you go to synagogue in the weekend, it's on the tables. And these are fascinating pieces of literature. And I used to, I still am subscribed, so I get them in the email every week. And all kinds of speaking to people, speaking to settlers, even making some friends among the settlers. So it was a huge research project, which all in all took me 5 years.
You connect in the biographies of the two main protagonists, which are these brothers, Gabi and Ronnie, you connect this group of settlers and their ideals. I mean, we learn in the book that both of them are not particularly ended in this settlement because of their ideals, but because of their weird lives. Mm-hmm. But they are both coming from a kibbutz. They are both outsiders in the kibbutz. They grew up, and they grew up in a world with a lot of ideals. And I mean, one guess, I mean, before reading the book, could be that in a way these settlements are a caricature of the kibbutzim with their ideals. So having, as you expose it, the settlements and the settlers as those who today have ideals. But in a way, if you look more closer, and you do it in the book, it's not just one ideal that they have, but what brings them together is really this Wild West setting that attracts all kind of outcasts and all kind of ideals. How representative you would think are these outcasts among the broad population of settlers? Because I mean, these personalities are in one way or the other really weird. And I mean, in your research, are they all that weird?
That was a clear description of Gabi and Ronnie, and of the way they are in the book, and also I've been getting this question and this complaint by people, by settlers who have read the book, even in early stages before I published it, that there's too many weird people. I don't think they are too weird. I think there are a few ways to answer this question. First of all, I think every one of us, every person, maybe I shouldn't say everyone, but everyone I know, is very complex and is made up of a lot of parts. Some of them are pleasant and some of them are dark, and could be selfish and violent and all other host of characteristics. Now, it is also true that one of the things that I discovered in my research while traveling is the variety of settlements, the different types of settlements, different types of people, and the variety of reasons for people ending up there. Like you said, sometimes it's pure circumstance. I believe that it could even be most times. There is this ideal of the settlement. There are the very idealistic political people who built some of the settlements, but there are many people who go there for the beautiful settings, for the very cheap, much cheaper than the rest of Israel, accommodation and standard and cost of living, and also as an escape, like these two brothers, each one escapes different events or different parts of their souls. But I do believe that there are, to answer your question, how representative it is of all the settlers, there are quite a few people like that. Now, these are the two maybe protagonists, the two main characters in the book, but this settlement, we have, I don't know, 20 characters maybe, and not all of them arrive in this way. Some are more ideological, more old school settlers, like Otniel that we heard about in the beginning, and he's maybe the third main character in the book, and his family. So yeah, it's a big variety, and some of them are a bit weird.
I mean, some of the weird personalities, but also the weird situations are like a catalyst for understanding of the others who are maybe more average or whatever. I mean, in this meeting that you spoke about, there was talk about die drei Verrückten und der Bulldogger, die Bulldog, nicht Bulldogger, ne? Der Caterpillar. The Bulldog. Ja, nicht der Hund, aber der Bagger. So, Bulldotzer, mein Gott. Die drei Verrückten auf dem Bulldotzer. Das ist eine sehr verrückte Szene, die sehr ausufert. Sie werden nicht gewählt für die Lesung, aber es ist eine Szene, in der es eine ganz merkwürdige Koalition gibt gegen die Räumung des Stützpunktes. Da steigen nämlich plötzlich ein arabischer Bauer aus dem Dorf, der um seinen Olivenhain fürchtet, eine besonders ideologisch fanatische Siedlerin aus der Siedlung, die fürchtet, dass die Siedlung geräumt wird, und Ronny, der fürchtet, dass seine Olivenölproduktion baden geht, gemeinsam auf diesen Bulldozer und verhindern sowohl die Räumung der Siedlung als auch das Planieren des Olivenhains, weil die Armee beschlossen hatte, den Sicherheitszaun oder wie auch immer man es nennt, die Mauer genau da durchzuziehen und rechts und links alles platt zu machen, inklusive Olivenhain und Siedlung. Das wird also sozusagen von einer antagonistischen Kooperation von Siedlern und Arabern verhindert, und in diesem sozusagen aporetischen Stil, in this operatic style, it goes on when there are different interesting coalitions also in the book, and that is a way to really to mix reality in a way that it's getting more clear than before. I mean, that was what I thought. How was the reaction of the different audiences? I mean, the one you already had, which is probably a more urban, liberal audience in the bigger cities in Tel Aviv or wherever, in Haifa, Jerusalem, and the new audience that you probably found by writing this book, but I'm pretty sure that the settlers, some of them will buy the book and want to know what you write about them. Yes. So how did these very distinctly different audiences reacted on your book?
First, settlers are, or right-wing, Zionists, however you term this group, they are avid readers. They love reading not only religious stuff, but they read fiction. They're a big force, a big market force in Israel. And they have read my previous book also. I mean, I got a little reactions from that part of society, but as you say, they were of course very curious to read, And the reactions I got were mixed. I got a lot of positive reactions. I think they expected a lefty writer from Tel Aviv to come and slaughter them and write a very, very negative book. And they were surprised by the fact that it is trying not to be objective, but to give a distant look over the matters and to treat them as human beings, which is what of course I set out to do. So I think just for that they applauded the book. I got there is a right-wing newspaper called Makor Rishon, which gave me a great review and also a very supportive interview, magazine article. There is a columnist, a very, maybe the most important right-wing columnist in Ma'ariv, which is another currently going right-wing newspaper who only a few weeks ago wrote very favorably about it. And he said exactly that he expected it to be very, very anti, very negative, and was surprised to find a story, a serious story, that did not essentially treat them as devils. I also heard other things. If I would have received only good responses from the settlers, I would have been concerned. So I did hear there is one guy called Chagai Segal, a very prominent settler. He was part of the Jewish underground, who did some terrorist attacks themselves against Arabs in the 80s and were imprisoned. So he was one of the leaders, and he now is an important columnist in Yediot Achronot, a big newspaper. And the PR woman tried to interest him, obviously, and he said no. He hated it. But his son, who's an important TV presenter in the news, he loved it. So that's the kind of the mixed bag of reactions that I received. Also personally through Facebook and email, it was mixed. Now on my home ground, as you called it, my people, the urban, the leftists, I was even more worried, because I thought it would be seen as a support of the settlers, again, by the fact that I am telling a story of human beings. I think maybe some of them are so anti-settlers that they wouldn't even read it, and they wouldn't be interested, which is a problem, I think. You should, even if it's the enemy, you should know the enemy, and you should be definitely interested in part of your people, of your society. But those who read, again, I got excellent reviews everywhere, all around. Comments directly from people, and offers to make a TV series and this and that. So the response has been very positive all around, generally.
We return to that, but now we want to know what happened when the minister and the ambassador touched ground on Male Hermesh number 3.
Dieses Kapitel ist überschrieben mit das Wort. Hauptmann Oma Levkovich erwachte vom Piepston der Weckfunktion des Mobiltelefons in seiner winzigen Wohnung in Jerusalem, 5:45 Uhr. Der Kopfschmerz ereilte ihn einen Moment vor der Erinnerung an die vergangene Nacht. Zu viel Bier. Dazu ein kurzhaariges Mädchen, eine Studentin. Sie studierte irgendetwas Merkwürdiges, an das er sich nicht erinnern konnte, und er hatte unentwegt Bier getrunken und über seine Ex geredet, die ihn vor kurzem verlassen hatte. Als er dann die Bar verließ, wollte die Studentin dann doch lieber nicht mitkommen, um sich sein Fotoalbum anzuschauen. Nach einer Dusche frisierte er sein blondes Haar mit den Fingern vor dem Spiegel. Rot geäderte Müdigkeit blickte ihm aus seinen grau-grünen Augen entgegen. Er machte sich Kaffee in einer Thermostasse, stieg in den Jeep und fuhr zur Basis. Sammelte die Mannschaft ein und steuerte Male Hermes 3 an. Der Aktionspegel im Operationsgelände war bereits hoch, hörte er über Funk. Joni wartete im Stützpunkt. Er war noch am Samstagabend aus dem Wochenende zurückbeordert worden, in dem Moment, in dem der Besuch des Ministers bestätigt worden war. Joni stieg in den Jeep ein, sie drehten eine Runde. Und was ist das? Fragte Omer, als er Leute sah, die zu der frühen Morgenstunde schweigend auf der Ringstraße ausschritten. Morgengebet, antwortete Joni. So viele? Sie haben doch sonst nie die 10 Leute für einen Minyan zusammengekriegt. Haufen Gäste, erklärte Joni mit gedehnter Reibeisenstimme. Die Autokarawane begann kurz nach 7 einzutreffen. Die Zeitungsschlagzeilen, die der Assistent für Siedlungsangelegenheiten dem Sicherheitsminister repräsentierte, verkündeten ein Einknicken des Ministers gegenüber dem Präsidenten der Vereinigten Staaten, und die Leitartikel spöttelten über seine Versuche, sich einzuschmeicheln und Gefallen zu finden, in dem mit Antennen gespickten Panzerwagen, der